Okay, starting the live video here. Okay, check, check, check. Welcome back. Another episode of It's a Matter of Life or Death. I'm your host, Josue. How's everybody doing? Late nighter today, I know, but like I always say, it's better late than never, you know? High five for making it here. Anyways, welcome back. Given that it's late, won't take too much of your time. It is a new month. It is the 8th month of the year. That's so crazy because now we officially enter the last 5 months. Because if you count this one, you have August, September, October, November, December. Because we're just barely the first week. So 5 months, at least 30 days in each month. 5 times 3 is at least 150 days left. So think about it. A year has 365 days. So we have like 150 left. Oh my God. So crazy to me. But anyways, welcome back. I am here a little bit late. Like I said, I had a Cubs game today. I want to go see the Cubs versus Dodgers game. So that was fun. And this one, you guys are here now. Okay. First things first, like I said, I won't take too much of your time because I know it's late. Let me just find this. Give me 1 second here. I wanted to find the flyer for our run, you know, because I don't know if you guys have heard, or I don't know if you guys have seen. It's posted on our Facebook. It's pinned right there. We are having our first ever fundraiser, hosted by us. We're launching it. We're doing it. We're the one that's putting it together. Everything's done by us, even the running. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna be over there participating, see how fast I run that 5K. So, a little reminder: it is on September 12th. It's going to be at Emerson Park in Woodstock, and it is going to be $40 to enter. You don't have to run. You could also just walk, or you could also just support. You don't necessarily have to participate. One thing I did learn, pretty cool feature, is Joe Cicero from Star 105.5 will be hosting. So he'll be our MC for the evening, which is pretty cool. I always not a big radio listener, but I see radio celebrities. Like I follow B96 radio celebrities. I don't know why I follow them, but I see them do cool stuff like this. Like they MC events, and we're gonna have our own MC from our own radio station, which is pretty cool. Which, by the way, Joe Cicero is also a board member for our organization. So shout out to Joe. He's a very awesome person. We've met a couple times. I wonder if he remembers me. You know, he probably does because I've been with the organization for like 5 years, and I believe he's been part of the board for the entire time. So very big fan of Joe. If you guys like Joe, you could go see him there if you guys are fans as well. So again, that's September 12th. I'm going to be running, and I'm also going to be running maybe some stations, maybe like a sign-up station. I don't know. I'm excited. Anyways, that's first and foremost. Secondly, actually, that's all I have. Oh, no, we're actually going to be at the Elgin Tick. There's actually 2 events happening this month, 2 outreach events that I'm going to be at. One of them is going to be the Elgin Tick on August 15th, which is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So I'll be there. I'll be at the Elgin Tick. And then I'll also be at a CPD event on Friday the 21st. So more details to come about those 2. I'll probably tell you guys the details. Excuse me. The week off, but actually I had the Elgin Tick details. So what makes Elgin Tick is going to be at the Elgin Township on Saturday, August 15th. There is a rain date, but knock on wood that there isn't any rain. But as of now, it stands to be on August 15th, and then it's going to be throughout the day, probably from like some, the times that they usually are from like 12 to like 3 or like 12 to 5. I doubt it's 12 to 5. They usually don't go that late, from like 10 to 3, 10 to 2. So you guys could catch me there. I have a little table set up and a little tent. Okay, without further ado, because it is late, like I said, I won't take too much of your time because I also have to go to sleep. I have to wake up in the morning. Fist bump. So without taking much more of your time, this month we're gonna be talking about home pre-purchasing and kind of like a little first-time home buyers guide. Um, a little week breakdown for you. First week we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna assess your readiness and financial preparation. So definitely we're gonna talk about that today. How to know whether you're really ready to purchase a house or not. Next week we're gonna talk about loan options and getting you pre-approved. The loan options and getting you pre-approved is kind of a good subject to like listen into, because one, it'll tell you what kind of loan options are out there, because some loan options may carry some extra monthly costs like a private mortgage insurance, but there's also some loan options that may not be favorable for you, um like an arm loan, which is an adjustable rate loan. So definitely tap in for that week. And then there's also, I'm always gonna tell you, this whole month is gonna be like, each week is gonna incorporate how CCS could help, because CCS has its own framework, has its own checklist, and then they have their own way that they could assist with the home buying process. Now, granted, we're not realtors, we're not lenders, we're not gonna sit here and help you or show you houses. We're not gonna sit here and help you choose a lender, underwrite your finances, and see how much you can qualify for, get your pre-approval. No, we're just gonna help make sure that everything's in order, that you're financially ready to buy a house, and then we're also gonna help you put together a budget. That way, you could have a solid budget going into the home purchasing process, and then have a solid budget after the home buying process with your mortgage slot ready to go for your mortgage or for your budget. Week 3 is we're gonna talk about home searching and making an offer. Again, not something that we usually help with, but there's some waters that you need to understand during that steps to navigate, and that's what we're gonna help with. And then the last week is, of course, the recap. So that's kind of like a breakdown for you guys. Let me see here. Let me just bring this back. Okay. Without further ado, let's get right into it, because I know a lot of you guys wanna purchase a home. Fun fact, and I actually just read this, and I could probably Google it. What is the average age for your current first-time home buyer? What is the average age for your current first-time home buyer? The median age for a first-time home buyer in the United States is 35 to 40 years old. That is pretty wild, The National Association of Realtors reports a record high of median age of 40 years old. Redfin, they are reporting it slightly lower at 35 years, being the median age to purchase a house. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna be yawning because it's late. And then, last but not least, the Federal Reserve census data, it estimates the typical rookie buyer median closer to 33 years. So it's around 33, 35, 40 years, the median age, the average age for your current first-time home buyer, which is crazy because I'm 33 and this is my second mortgage. So just blows my mind. I wonder what it was. I know like 10 years ago for first-time home buyers, what is the average age for first-time home buyers 10 years ago? In 2016, the median age for first-time home buyers was 32 years old. So not a big gap from the Fed data, because they guesstimated, or not guesstimated, the average they had was 33 years old. Redfin had 35, and then the realtors had 40. That's the biggest discrepancy. However, 32. I just wanted to show you how the age is constantly increasing. Let's do 20 years ago. 20 years ago, oh, it's still 32. But wait a minute. Oh, in the 1880s to 1990s, the median age was 28 years old. From 2006 and up, the average age is 32 years old. And in recent years, since the 2020s, the median age has climbed significantly, reaching an all-time high of 40 years old. So again, I think it's not necessarily that people are taking longer to buy properties. I just think a lot of financial readiness goes into that, and the financial readiness part is very much lacking on not necessarily our generation, because I'm 33 years old, but the generation a little bit prior to us, because clearly they're buying at 40. Now, just because you're buying at 35, 40, 45, even 50, don't think you're behind the curve. Everybody has different preferences. Some people might, get tired of renting at 40. Some people might get tired of renting at 30. Some people might get tired of renting at 25. I got tired of renting very young. I got tired of living with my parents before I was even 18. Just kidding. I love my parents. And honestly, in this economy, I wish I was still living with them. I'm kind of not upset that I live on my own, but that mortgage is no joke, guys. So definitely, I think financial readiness is one step that we could help with, and that's what we're here for, and that's what I'm here to help you with. And if you ever run into any problems, or if you ever have any questions, or if you ever think you're ready to make the transition from renting into buying, then you could always just give us a call. We have our own framework. So if I'm not mistaken, our framework is about $150. I want to say that's the cost. I want to say like that's max. I don't think it'll go over that. I'm almost positive it's $150. Is a first time home buyers framework that we ask you to fill out prior to see a counselor for not prior. The counseling sessions are completely free. The framework is just for us to analyze how ready you are, or what step in your home buying process are. Because first, and this is what we're going to talk about this week, the first step is assessing your readiness, assessing your financial health. I always tell you that whenever you come talk to our counselors, the best thing that you get out of it is a free budget. You're going to get a budget tailor-made to your needs, to your expenses, and to your family size. That's perfect, because that's exactly what you need to assess your financial health. You gotta construct the budget to realize where your money's going, to realize if your expenses are overtaking your income, or if your income can support your expenses, and vice versa. With that being said, so assessing financial healthness, or assessing financial health. When you do our framework, it helps you do that for you. It helps you assess your financial readiness. It helps you review your credit score, your credit report, clean up errors. That's something our counselors will do as well. So if they ask you to go, because our counselors will go through your credit report with you, they'll also go through your expenses with you when they build a budget, and then doing so, they're gonna review your credit score, tell you, look through your credit report, see what could be hurting your credit score, or what could improve your credit score, whether you're like clean it up or not. Also, errors. If there's any errors on your credit report, our counselors will help you identify them, and then also not necessarily find a solution, but guide you a way to correct those errors. Calculating your debt to income ratio for housing affordability targets, that's something that's easily done. And we definitely could do that with not just necessarily your credit report, but also your statement, because we're going to ask you, once our counselors start going through your bank statements, they're probably going to see any credit card payments, or maybe any credit payments that you have, whether it's credit cards, auto companies, maybe some furniture companies, maybe you just bought some tires on credit. They're going to see that on the bank statement. They're going to ask you, like, okay, what's the balance of this? So they're going to calculate how much debt you have to how much income you have, and they'll give you an idea of what you get a pre-approved for. Again, you got to remember, we are not lenders. We are not doing the underwriting for you. We will give you an idea, an estimate of what you can get pre-approved for, or what your monthly payment would look like. But at the end of the day, the bank has its own procedures. They might give you different pre-approval ranges that we give you, which is something that you do that you have to do as well, is shopping around, not necessarily for the person that'll give you the most debt or like the biggest loan for you to take, but also shopping around for the best rates and programs that they have. Sometimes they'll give you like some closing costs, they'll give you some credits. So we're going to talk about that in the third week. Make sure to come in, because I'm definitely going to talk about shopping around. That's a big part of buying a house, is shopping around for a lender, because some lenders might be there just to get you in and out the door, and you become just another number for them. Or some lenders are genuinely there trying to help you. They're trying to get you into a good loan somewhere, something that you could afford, something that'll benefit you. And also, some lenders might be really looking out for you and give you some credits just to earn your business. Some lenders might give you like $5,000 closing costs. Some lenders will give you like 5% closing costs. I remember when I was working at the bank and I was a bank teller, I think we were offering 2.5% of the total buying price as a credit if you did a loan with us. But that was back when I was working at TCF. That was one of the mortgage programs that we were running. I remember that clearly because I was cross selling it. I was trying to sell it like, hey, if you want to get a mortgage with us, we'll give you 2.5% of your total buying price as a closing price, as a closing credit. So definitely keep that in mind when it comes to shopping around. Again, we're going to get into that third week, but we are going to look at your finances. Our counselors will look at your finances and tell you what your debt to income ratio is and what you might be able to qualify for. Okay. Next is financial preparation, which again, starts with budgeting. That is the blueprint. And again, whether you come talk to our counselors to pre-purchase a home, or whether you come talk to our counselors, maybe you want to move from your current apartment that you're renting and you want to rent a little better one and you want to see how much more you could afford on rent. Any little question that you have for our counselors, they will definitely get you a budget custom made for that situation and that financial goal. That's one great thing. Again, our counselors are amazing people. They are very empathetic, non-judgmental, and all they care is about helping the community. And so what they'll do is they'll line you up. They'll set you on a path for your financial goals because that's how you start. That's how you start a budget, is with your financial goals. And they'll put you on a path to help you get to those goals. So budgeting, definitely do that. If you need help starting, again, you know where to find us. You could also just comment. When you're watching this and you're like, I wonder if you could help me get into a better house, or if you could help me get into a better rent space, or maybe if you could help me get into a mortgage. I personally won't be able to help you. Our counselor as well, but put it in the comments and I will get you started. I will get you the help that you need, that you deserve. Don't worry. You're in good hands. I know State Farm has that trademark, but don't sue me. I'm just trying to spread some financial knowledge out here, financial gospel, Okay. Savings goals, definitely we're gonna get you in line with those because you have to have savings for a down payment. The down payment requirements range anywhere from 3.5% all the way to 20% of the home buying price. That also goes line in line with the kind of mortgage that you could qualify for. So definitely we'll go more into that next week when we talk about different loan options. But just know that there's the down payment that you need to be ready to put down for. It's either between minimum 3.5% all the way up to 20%. Now there might be some grants from the state that could probably get you some free money for that down payment. Our counselors will also help you find those things. Also, with the down payment, there's also some closing costs and some other costs that may come up while you're going through the pre-purchase process. There's gonna be maybe like some inspection costs when you're looking at houses. There's gonna be earnest money that you need to put down. There might be some closing costs if you don't get enough credits either from the seller, from the state, or from the lender. There might be some closing costs. So our counselors will definitely help you establish a budget that'll help you save and that'll help you prepare for all those costs. Because if you're not ready for those costs, those things could add up. Not only could add up, but they could also be pretty hefty in size. Starting with like an inspection. I remember, like I said, this is my second property that I've owned. And when I was buying those properties, the inspections were at least $300 each inspection. So again, that's not a small ticket, but the costs also get bigger as you go down the line. Earnest money could be like $1,000, could be $2,000. Have to be ready for that. Some closing costs, some the down payments. It could range because you're only getting percentages, so you just definitely have to have a good, stable savings, not just necessarily a savings habit, but a savings balance to get into that. Now, again, Just because you don't have 20% down doesn't mean you can't get into a home. It's all about your budget and your financial readiness. And that doesn't deter you from getting a home. You just have to decide. It'll help you make the decision whether you want to keep renting and save for a little bit more, or whether you just want to jump into a house. And then last but not least is managing existing debt and avoid new credit inquiries or marriage purchases. Or basically just avoid getting into any new debt, and then try to clear out any debt that you have, because the amount of debt that you're going to take on right now when you purchase a home, it's going to be incremental. Now, of course, I always do this whenever I give my workshops in regards to budgeting basics or developing sound financial skills. We tell people about their net worth, and sometimes your net worth might be negative because you're going to owe more than what you own, because a residence is going to take a while for you to own it. They give you these mortgages for 30 years, 15 years. I think 15 years, maybe there might be a 10-year mortgage, but 15-year is kind of like the common minimum. Then you get 20, 25, 30s. I think, not quite sure. I'm not a lender, but there's different time limits for these mortgages, but they're not short. They go from 10 years to 30 years. So just since you're going to get into a lot of debt, you have to make sure that your debt that you currently already have before getting into the mortgage is not only manageable, but it doesn't grow. Because if you're just continue to get into your debt, you might get into a hole that you might not be able to get out of, unless you use our help, which we are also here to do. Our counselors could very well help you get out of debt first, and then help you get into a mortgage after. So with that being said, that was the first week. The first week is always just taking a look, like starting from the ground up and starting at a very rough spot. Now, when you're budgeting, that's where you start. You start here. You start today. You start at the current. You have to be not a harsh judge, but you have to be cognizant of everything that's going on with your finances before jumping into a very, I don't want to say scary financial decision, but a very important financial decision. So you have to make sure that, we always like to say, our organization helps you take control of your finances before they take control of you. And before you get into a mortgage, you should definitely be on top of your finances. And if you need help taking control of your finances, give us a call. Like I said, we're here to help. Our phone number is 318. No, 318. I know our phone number. I always forget it. It's 815-338-5757. I knew it. I knew it's 338. I was like 318. No, it's 815-338-5757. You could also find us on our YouTube and on our Facebook and everywhere. You just have to Google Illinois CCS. But with that being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Everybody have a great rest of your night. Caught you guys late today. Make sure you go out there and enjoy the summer. Today was a beautiful day. I know we've been getting some rains, which has kind of sucked. But everybody enjoy the summer. We have like about a month left, so make sure you make the best of it. And then I'll catch you here in Spanish on Thursday. Okay? See you later. Have a good night. Bye.